the Chiefs. Then the New York Football Giants look to take down the 1-seed Eagles. On Sunday, we have Burrow versus Allen. Then America's team will look to end Brock Purdy's success and reach their first NFC Championship game since the 1995 season. We now welcome in our gambling guru live from Vegas, Joe Burrow. Did you get doggy this time? I know you guys have already met, so we'll leave the pleasantries for another time. We'll get right into the slate here. So Jacksonville, an 8.5-point road underdog at KC. Did they pull the upset in back-to-back weeks, Joe?
I appreciate that we're moving quickly here, Molly, because I do have to get back to my book tour in a moment. So thank you for the brevity. Now, as to this pick. Now, as to my pick, I've got no faith in Jacksonville this weekend. I'm laying the 8.5 with Kansas City. We all know how well Andy Reid performs when he's coming off a bye, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to leave that out there. The problem for Jacksonville is that this is a bad matchup stylistically for them. Their weakness is their pass defense. It's one of the worst in the NFL. Last I checked, Kansas City can throw the ball, and they can throw the ball with a lot of success on a regular basis. Nice story for the Jags last week, coming back to beat the Chargers, who did everything they could to go out of their way to lose that game. I don't see that happening at Arrowhead in some cold weather with a hostile environment, laying the points. Chiefs also an excellent 6-point teaser option.
Well, the two things I don't like about it, it's not fun to root for Kansas City, Joe, because Jacksonville's the Cinderella team, and the Chiefs are not good as big favorites. Denver, they have done a terrible job. They have not covered the big number. Or Houston, I go on and on. They have not covered the big number all year. That would worry me by more than a touchdown. Life on the line, I think Joe's right. I would worry about the Chiefs' propensity to keeping these teams in the game.
Life on the line, so dramatic.
Yes.
All right, let's get to the one we're all waiting for. It's the NFC showdown. New York at Philly, who's 7.5-point home favorites. Joe, tell America, you're very unbiased with this, where you're from. What's the play here?
I am biased. I'm from Allentown, Pennsylvania. I am an Eagles fan, but I'm a self-loathing Eagles fan. I bet against them more than I bet on them because I don't have faith. This week, however, since it's Little Blue, I'm going to lay the 7.5. Let me take you through two things here. Number one, these two teams got together a few weeks ago in New York, mid-December. Philly was laying 7.5 in that game. Now they're laying 7.5, but the game's at home, and they have an extra week of preparation coming off the bye. I think there's value in the number. The Giants are what I like to call Minnesota light, okay? Overrated based on the record. They're 10-4-1 in one-score games, and including that playoff win last week, the Giants have a +1 point differential through 18 games. +1. Dable's a great coach. It's been a fun story. The Eagles squash it this weekend and cover the number.
Boy, I think Joe's nuts.
Right.
I'm going to go the other way. I'll take the Giants on the money line. When the Giants get a little something going historically, they do their thing. And I'll tell you, Lane Johnson, is he going to play? Hurts hasn't played in 5 weeks. And one other thing, Joe, keep this in mind. The Giants play this game with complete house money. The fans have had a great year no matter what. That fan base in Philadelphia, if this game gets tight, there'd be tension in that stadium that you won't even believe. They'll boo the Eagles off the field if they trail at the half. I think it's worth a run. Giants straight up. Forget the points.
Let's
what
go.
Is it, +200?
Let's get it.
What's the money line? Take them on the money line.
Little Blue.
Keep it moving.
Hold on.
Keep it
Little
moving.
Blue in Minnesota light. I just want to make sure. Thanks for that bulletin board material. We got that. All right, we'll keep going. Burrow versus
The numbers
Allen.
don't lie. The numbers don't
Oh,
lie.
sometimes numbers do lie. Sometimes stats lie. Men lie, women lie, and numbers do lie. All right, Burrow versus Allen. Does Buffalo cover, giving 5.5 points at home, Joe?
All right, so this is the one I have the least amount of confidence in. I want to make that very clear. The market is telling us Buffalo. I mean, this game opened 3.5, and it goes up to 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, and the Bills haven't looked great as of late. The defense didn't look good against Miami. You got to wonder what we're going to get from them this week against Cincinnati, who at every turn this season has answered the bell. But there's two big problems for Cincinnati in this game, which is why I think the money's coming in on Buffalo. Number one, the offensive line. It was average to begin with, and every single week they seem to lose a starter. I believe they're going to be down 3 starters for this game on the road in a hostile environment. Number two, and this has got to be, people need to talk about this more. How much is left in the tank for Cincinnati after back-to-back games against Baltimore? Those games are very taxing. Teams that played the Niners this year are 0-15 the following week because that game is so physical. Baltimore takes a piece of your soul when they play you, whether they win or lose. And they played Cincinnati 2 weeks in a row. I wonder how Cincinnati feels just physically coming into this game.
Yeah, I think this is a tricky game, too. I think you can do it either way. But the one thing I'm definitely going to do, Joe, I would take the points. 5.5 is too many. The Bills are erratic. Didn't cover against Miami. Didn't cover against Cleveland. Didn't cover against Buffalo, against Detroit on Thanksgiving. Lost at home to Minnesota. This team didn't cover against the Jets. This team does not cover. I think it's tricky. Buffalo could win the game, but I think the 5.5 is a good play. And remember one other thing. I hate to bring it up, but 3 weeks ago, Buffalo was about to be down 14-3 in that game in Cincinnati. They were about to be down 14-3. Cincinnati did a great job on their first drive, was driving on their second drive, and held Buffalo to a field goal on their first drive. I know it's only 9 minutes. I don't want to read too much into it, but Cincinnati looked like they were in good shape that day. I'll take the 5.5.
Okay.
Not the money line. Risky. I'm with Joe on that. Tough game. I'll take the 5.5.
All right. Before we get to the last one, you brought up injuries. I was just wondering, Joe, how your shoulder's feeling. You might want to just watch when you're, you know, shoulder. You get it? All right. Lastly, we got Dallas.
You're just full of them today, aren't you?
At San
You are just full of them
Francisco.
today.
It took him a second to get that. Dallas is getting 4. What do you like in this huge showdown?
Laying it with San Francisco. This is the one I like the most. I know everyone's excited about Dallas. Look at the situation. San Francisco's at home. They've got 2 extra days of rest. They've got the better defense, and they've got the smarter head coach when it comes to scheming for these matchups.
Here you have the MVP candidate through the first 14 or 15 weeks. We haven't really seen the full Jalen Hurts for a month. It's a great unknown. It's the great drama of this weekend. How will Jalen Hurts play? And how will that shoulder react after get hit? Everybody on that panel will tell you, who's an athlete, knows that a shoulder injury like that is easily re-injured. So it's very important to watch how Jalen Hurts reacts after he gets hit.
Stay with me, Sal. I want to keep you here for the conversation, but let me bring this to the table. Yesterday, Rob Ninkovich, and you played defense a long time in the NFL. When I asked Chris Canty, how will the Giants approach this game? He said to me, Greeny, they're going to check his oil. What does that mean, and how will they do it?
Huh? Well,
don't look at me.
I would drop some weight on him. Like,
check his oil.
Right.
Is that not a
That's
phrase you're familiar with?
basically what he was saying.
Yeah, you're going to check him. You're going to make sure that his shoulder is healthy enough to sustain. But
how?
When he's a running back, he's a running back. He's out of that quarterback protection bubble. Once he puts that ball down in his hands like this and he's going forward, you're going to wrap him up, and similar to how he was injured, like the defender literally just dropped on top of him. So you're going to have guys want, okay, you're back, you're on the field, you're putting your helmet down like you want to be a running back. We're going to hit you like a running back.
So this is what it comes to. He has the protection. We all saw the ridiculous flag that Dexter Lawrence got in the game against Kirk Cousins the other day. He has that protection when he's a passer. But when he's running with the football, which when he's at his most effective, he does a lot, Bart, there is no such protection. They're going to land on him and make sure that shoulder can handle it.
Well, that's the key. Like, we want to know if that element is not in their game, then that really takes a whole package out of our play, because we have to have it organized. Are we going to crash down? Are we going to get up the field? Are we going to slow play? If that's not an element that we have to worry about, then it allows us to really play a lot faster because we take it away. But what we would say, and people don't like to hear it, we would say don't let them fall, right? Because what's better than one hit? 5. So when you get him, wrap him up. They're not going to blow the whistle because he's a guy that can break out of tackles. Everybody come get some. Everybody get a lick. We're going to hold him up, and let's see if we can take some shots on his arm.
Well, that's another thing, too. When they're running that option play, as an outside linebacker, defensive end, you can either slow play that or you can fast play that, and you can change that up. So if you're running this read option type play, and instead of crashing, you just say, I'm going to go hit his upfield shoulder.
And it's a coordination.
I'm going to go get him, and everyone understands, okay, this play we're going to hit him, next play we're going to slow play.
So if I were to say, Damian Woody, that I feel like the entire game comes down to this. The Eagles are a better team than the Giants if Jalen Hurts is most of himself. They were the best team in the NFL this year when he was most of himself. But if he is compromised, If he isn't able to do all of these other things that he does besides throwing the football, this feels to me like it becomes pretty close to a dead-even game. Is that overstating it?
No, it's not overstating it because the quarterback design runs are such a huge part of the Philadelphia Eagles offense. It's what makes their offense so dynamic. When you have, and we always talk about when you talk about the running game, it's a numbers game, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between 10 on 11 and 11 on 11 when you got a quarterback that